Oh, YouTube पे like area.
I'd like to call this hearing to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Boyer.
Here.
Councilman Underwood. Councilman Wilkie.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Councilman Dennis.
Here.
Councilman Venz.
Here.
Councilman Cook.
Here.
Councilman Tenen.
Here.
We have a quorum. Mrs. Manchanda,
Yes.
you are the applicant of this hearing, and it is your hearing, and therefore you can speak on your behalf, or your lawyer can speak on your behalf, but no other person.
Okay.
We only have an hour for this meeting. We have a council meeting at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'd like to get finished tonight. So if you would consider your witnesses to be relevant and avoid repetitive or redundant testimony.
Okay.
If we do have to stop the meeting at 6 o'clock, we will have to reconvene at another date.
Okay. Should I start?
Are there any other questions? Mr. Wadsack, would you please start with the city's
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to.
evidence?
Okay.
First step, I'd like to admit the city's exhibits 1 through 9 into the record, if I could. And then I'll call the city's first witness. City calls Detective Louis Pippin.
दूसरे आ रहे थे खाली थोड़े पे आ रहे थे नदी में आ गया मुझे अपने
Can the city clerk, can you swear Pippin in, Carrie?
How do I do that, Larry? Just,
You solemnly swear that the testimony you're going to give in this case is the truth, so help you God.
okay. Do I ask them to raise their right hand?
Yes.
Is the testimony you're about to give in this public hearing the truth and the whole truth? So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Louis Pippin.
And Mr. Pippin, who are you? What's your occupation?
I'm a detective sergeant for the city of Festus.
All right. And how long have you been with the Festus Police Department?
Since June of 2011.
All right. And were you involved in the investigation of a liquor license application submitted by Ms. Manchanda?
Yes, sir.
And do you regularly investigate liquor license applications for the chief?
Yes, sir.
And what's the typical scope, so we can get an idea of the typical scope of your investigation that you normally do into liquor license applications?
We review 5 different categories. We check the applicant's case net to see if they have any prior criminal or civil cases that are against them through Missouri. We will check them through Mules, which is our law enforcement portal for checking people for criminal history or any type of driving violations, things of that nature. Attached to that, we check for the criminal history. We can't dive deep into what is in their criminal history, just if there's one present or not. And then if there's any other locations or businesses that are listed on an application, we will call other agencies and we will check what is called a CAD, which is computer aided dispatching, to see if they have any calls for service to that location, because there's a lot of times we find that there may be things that pop up on the CAD that don't necessarily pop up on any of the other categories that we check.
Okay, very good. On the liquor license application, which for the benefit of the council is Exhibit 2 in our packet, at page 6, Ms. Manchanda identified 2 other business establishments which she is affiliated with where liquor was sold. Is that correct?
I don't have the page, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Did you investigate 2 other businesses that Ms. Manchanda was associated with where liquor was sold?
Don't talk till they tell me.
I'm sorry, what was that question again, sir?
Did you investigate 2 other businesses where Ms. Manchanda had an association where liquor was sold? One is addressed on 1955 Chambers in St. Louis County, and a second business she identified in her application is 10,620 New Halls Ferry in Ferguson.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just, she identified those 2 as being gas station and convenience stores that had a packaged liquor license. So did you do your inquiry that you typically do about through the CAD system of the local police departments at those 2 locations?
Yes, sir.
And what did you find?
The gas station at New Halls Ferry is located inside of the city limits of Ferguson. I contacted Ferguson's PD. I spoke with a records clerk at that location. They advised that they have had officers dispatched to that location over 500 times in the last 5 years, and they are constantly there for service, for calls for service.
Okay. So it's 500 calls in the past 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you check the other location on Chambers Road, 1955 Chambers Road?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what did you find out on that one?
I found that that's not located inside of a municipality. Instead, it's patrolled by St. Louis County PD. I called them. They advised that they have been dispatched to that location hundreds of times over the last few years. During the last week, at the time of this investigation, during the last week alone, they had officers dispatched to that location over a dozen times for stolen vehicles, overdoses, and trespassings.
Okay. How does that volume of calls that you just described for the council, how does that compare with businesses in Festus?
Our busiest gas station is most likely going to be the Mobile gas station. It's on 67, which is a highway that runs through our city, and it's at a very busy location in front of Walmart. During this same time frame of these checks, I did a 3-year check on that Mobile gas station. During the last 3 years, we have had 769 total calls for service. However, 238 of those calls have been for drive-offs. 169 of them have been for officers going out there for car washes or foot patrols for things like drinks or snacks to get through their shifts, which leaves 362 calls for service at that location over the last 3 years. And that includes vehicle accidents that are happening out on the next nearest location, which would be out at the intersection of Highway 67 and Elks Drive in front of Walmart. It would also include any traffic stops, which our officers routinely conduct traffic at that location, watching the stop sign coming out of Walmart. And that also includes any other calls for service, such as suspicious persons. I believe we had a couple stolen vehicles there, and that was over a 3-year period.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Do you know, Detective, if there's currently a liquor store at the address 314 West Main?
No, I don't know.
There's not?
No.
Oh, you don't know? Okay. And during your investigation, did you also uncover a court case involving Ms. Manchanda in CaseNet that was where a judgment was entered?
There was yes.
There was a judgment entered. The case was brought by the Missouri Division of Employment Security, and it resulted in a judgment against Ms. Manchanda for $659.92. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's all the questions I have of this witness, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Manchanda, do you have any questions for this witness?
No.
All righty. Thank you. Witness is dismissed.
The next witness, for this next witness, the city calls Chief Tim Lewis.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Timothy B. Lewis.
And what's your occupation?
I'm the police chief in the city of Festus.
And Chief, how long have you been the chief of police?
22 years.
Okay. And part of your responsibilities as the chief of police, the city code also gives you the position of the director of liquor control. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. And part of the duties of the director of liquor control involves supervising investigations into each application that's received for a liquor license. Is that right?
Yes.
And then the code also requires that you offer a recommendation of either approving or disapproving of applications for liquor licenses. And that's also correct, is it not?
Yes.
Chief, did you receive an application for a packaged liquor license from Ms. Manchanda?
Yes.
And where did they intend to operate? What location?
I believe it's 310 to 314 West Main Street.
Okay. And are you familiar with that location in the city?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And pursuant to your responsibilities in the city code, did you supervise an investigation into Ms. Manchanda's character, background, and her associates, together with the suitability of the location and surrounding conditions of the proposed premises?
Yes, I did.
And would you share with the city council the results of what you found in your investigation, or that Detective Pippin conducted for you?
We did the background as Detective Pippin explained, resulting in numerous calls for service that I believe would be a tax on our manpower as officers. The location, I don't believe is suitable for packaged liquor. I think that if it's any indication of what we received from the two locations, when you have that many calls, it's going to be a situation where officers are going to be tied up at that location at all times. It's right next to our Main Street area. I don't think that having numerous officers on calls there for service, whether it's for whatever it was up there, overdoses or stolen property or whatever, is good for our city. And based on that information is the decision I made.
Okay. And do you feel that the high volume of calls that these other two businesses reflects an inability to maintain order?
Yes.
Okay. And do you also believe it reflects on the applicant's moral character?
Yes.
And you've touched on this a little bit, but I'd like you to go into a little bit more detail for the city council, the potential impact on a municipal police department where you've got one business generating a disproportionate number of calls for service, that could potentially affect your staffing or your response times. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes. Normally, we have between 3 to 5 officers working a shift. And if I have to spend that amount of time, 500 calls there, then there's other parts of the city that we won't be able to get to. We won't be able to do our traffic details. We won't be able to do our extra patrols. We won't be able to do our subdivision details because we're going to focus in on this area to try and take care of the situations that could be coming from this location.
All right. And I think you touched on this earlier, but you were concerned about the impact, about the suitability of this location for a packaged liquor license. Isn't that true?
Yes.
So based on all the information that was developed through your investigation, you recommended to the council that the application be denied, right?
Yes.
And after the application was initially denied on January the 11th, 2021, were you contacted by anyone on the applicant's behalf?
Yes.
And who contacted you?
The chief of police of the Ferguson Police Department.
Okay, and what did the chief of Ferguson tell you?
He was inquiring why we were denying the liquor license. I explained to him the background check we had done had given us some information that we didn't feel was favorable for the city. The location that they wanted to put the packaged liquor store was not favorable for the city. And he explained that the store in Ferguson had called them looking for the police. And I explained to him it doesn't matter who called. There were still 500 instances where the police needed to be on that lot. It's a drain on resources, I felt, and that was one of the reasons that I denied that he called, and I explained that to him, and that was the end of the conversation.
Okay. And did that conversation change your opinion in any way?
No.
Okay, so as you testify this afternoon, do you believe this location is suitable for a packaged liquor store?
No.
And is it your opinion as the director of liquor control for the city that the application should be denied?
I believe the application should be denied.
Yes, okay, correct. Good. That's all the questions that I have of this witness, Mayor.
Ms. Manchanda, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes.
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 Okay, if you would, go ahead, please.
First of all, this is a liquor store, not a gas station. And gas station business is entirely different. All the calls were not made by our employees. Sometimes, like the previous gentleman said, there are accidents. We have two-way street. People pass our parking lots going to the different side of the road, and then there is an accident, and then you have to call. Just the other day, a lady was zooming by and she hit my parked car. And I do not think I should be denied for that reason. I know Festus is a good
Mayor, I'm gonna
area.
object. She's supposed to ask a question.
Ms. Machado, do you have a question to ask the chief of police?
About more.
Yes. How can
She can
he
testify later.
tell my moral character by a business which is run by employees who call the police? I do not have a single ticket on my name. I have licenses for 10 years. I've been doing business for 20 years. And nobody has ever said my moral character is bad. That is really disturbing me.
Ms. Machanda, do you have a question for the chief of police?
How did he come to the conclusion about my moral character without knowing me?
It's the character of the business. It's the incidents that are happening at the location that is concerning to me, and the location.
So it's not personal.
So it's not personal.
Have you done research to the crime rates in the area?
Have you done research to the crime rate
in that area.
in Ferguson area compared to Festus area?
No.
Do you know there were riots in 2015 in Ferguson?
Okay.
In 14.
Did you ask me, were there riots in Festus in 2014?
No, in Ferguson.
Yes, I was aware of that.
Yeah.
Right where those.
I'm right there where those riots are.
Is there any other question you'd like to ask?
No.
Chief, you are dismissed.
Thank you.
Larry, if you'd call the next witness.
Next witness is Matt Unrein.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Would you state your name, please?
Matt Unrein.
And Matt, what is your occupation?
I am the Assistant City Administrator and Public Works Director for the City of Festus.
And how long have you been with the city of Festus?
Since September of last year.
Okay. And formerly, were you employed by the city of Ferguson?
Indeed, yes, sir.
And in what capacity were you employed by the city of Ferguson?
Well, I had several hats, but most recently I was the Assistant City Manager and the Public Works Director for Ferguson.
Okay. And did some of were you involved in code enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the annual liquor license inspections, were you involved in those?
Yes, sir. My staff conducted annual liquor license inspections.
Okay. While you were at Ferguson, were you familiar with the applicant's gas station and convenience store at 10,620 New Halls Ferry?
Yes, sir. It's only a convenience store at that location.
Okay. Oh, what were your observations on that, on the operation of that business?
It was run very similar to other similar liquor stores in the area. A lot of accumulation of trash, a lot of vehicles lingering on the parking lot. Many of the windows were covered. They were entirely opaqued or covered with advertisements and signage in violation of the ordinance. And the building itself, until we had the annual liquor license, there was little to no maintenance done on the building until liquor license inspections were done.
Okay. And did they do check cashing services?
Yes, I believe that there were instances where check cashing services were being offered in the business contrary to our ordinance. Our ordinance does not permit the purveyance of any financial services like check cashing without special use permit.
Okay. And then let me switch hats where now that it's in Festus, are you familiar with the location where they proposed to operate this business that they're seeking a license for?
Yes, sir, I am.
Share with the council, if you would, if you have opinion as to how you feel about a packaged liquor store going into that location.
Well, the nature of a packaged liquor store business is that you'd have frequent customers throughout the day with short stays. And so you have a lot of vehicular traffic, ingress and egress on that lot is very poor. The parking area is not of enough size to allow a car to back up on private property and make a 3-point turn. They'd have to actually back onto the public roadway, causing, well, a conflict in traffic. And they're very close to a 4-way stop, perhaps one of the busiest 4-way stops in Festus. And so it gives an opportunity for a lot of conflict and potential car crashes.
Okay. So is it safe to say that you don't feel it would be a good fit for a packaged liquor store to go into that location?
No, sir, certainly not.
I'm sorry?
No, sir, that would certainly not be a good location.
Okay. That's all the questions I have of this witness, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Machado, do you have questions for this witness?
If I,
Yes.
What year is it?
Okay, go ahead.
He just said this is a liquor store. This is not a liquor store. This is Philip 66 gas station.
last 25.
Last so many years. Before that, it was Huck's. It was never a liquor store.
He's talking about
Call it
it
being
in
a gas
front of us.
Yeah, he's talking about the liquor store in front of us, Avon Liquor. And we never ever did check cashing.
I don't know.
Ma'am, do you have a question for the witness?
Yes, why is he calling it a liquor store? This is not a liquor store.
This is a
That's my recollection.
Okay. Is there any other question you'd like to ask him?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Unrein.
Mayor, the
Next
city
witness.
will rest. That's our last witness.
Before we took over, then
Okay, the city will rest. That's our last witness. Ms. Machanda, do you
Yes.
have witnesses you'd like to call?
Yes. Mr. Jason, first myself, then Mr. Jason, then Lon Simmons, Jaspal Gandhi, and Jasjeet Gandhi, and Mr. Hank.
Okay, you want to call one of those witnesses?
Yes, Jason, please come on.
Okay, hi, I'm Jason Miltenberger. I work for World Fuel Services. We're the fuel supplier for her two gas stations in Ferguson. And I've known Jaspal and Rajpreet for 6 years now, since they moved here in 2015. I supplied that store for about 2 years before they moved to town with the previous.
The witness to be sworn.
Oh,
Raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And state your name, please.
Jason Miltenberger.
Thank you.
Can I continue where I'll just continue where I left off. I worked with the previous owner there for a few years. I do fuel supply at gas stations. I've got around 150 customers in the St. Louis, Memphis, Illinois, Missouri area. I've been around for a while. I've been doing this job for 10 years. And part of what I do with my customers is to help them navigate some of the processes, some of the American processes. A lot of my customers are new Americans. I grow close to many of them because we work so closely together. And with these two and their family, I'm here to mention a couple things that I've heard so far in the testimony, but also to vouch for them as humans, as good people, as honest, hardworking, caring, loving people. These are not, I don't know what everyone's opinion is of gas station operators, liquor store operators, but these are hardworking, honest, good people. I mean, I'm very close with the family now, and I would help them in any way that I can. I've been around their stores a lot. I don't live in Ferguson. I live in Creve Coeur, Missouri, in a nice suburb, and it's great. I like it here. But I've been to Ferguson many times, and I know that we're all aware of Ferguson and what the neighborhood's like. And I know we've I don't know if you've all been there before or not, but the crime rate in Ferguson, Missouri is not the same as Festus, Missouri. It's just not. I'm sure you've seen Ferguson on the news, and you're aware of what has happened up there and what the neighborhoods are like. And and also I wanted to add too that there's quite a difference between gas station traffic and gas station events and liquor store or grocery store traffic. The gas stations are many customers per day, 1,000, 2,000. There are a lot of customers per day. In these neighborhoods, there are a lot of small transactions. So the customer count's huge for $2 in gas, $3 in gas. They're leaving cars at the pump. They're coming in, they're waiting in line, they're coming back out. There's a lot of traffic in these gas stations in these lower income areas where the transactions are very small. Liquor stores, grocery stores, I have various customers that have those in addition to their gas stations, and it's a different crowd. It's, they're doing food stamps, they're doing fresh food sometimes, they're doing grocery, they're doing a lot of liquor, they're doing beer. There are transactions throughout the day. There are maybe more than say, I don't know, an attorney's office, or an insurance agent's office, but they're not nearly as much as the gas station. And so this is different on a lot of levels. So, I was shocked to hear that the police call count at their gas station in Ferguson, Missouri is being used to judge their character and their business character on a liquor store in Festus, Missouri. This is apples to oranges in numerous ways. That being said, I think the statistic that was mentioned earlier about your local gas station there was about 300 calls in a 3-year period. And I think what we're talking about in Ferguson was 500 calls in a 5-year period. So once again, comparing the gas station to the liquor store is apples and oranges, but comparing your gas station there in town with their gas station in Ferguson, 100 calls per year, it sounds like they're on track with what your station there is doing. And also, I wanted to bring up the what was just mentioned about their parking lot, about the that you can't make a 3-point turn on their lot, and I'm sure more can be done to look at that and look at maybe traffic counts and traffic patterns there to see if there's anything different that can be done. But to restrict them based on that too, you're really dooming that property permanently to make it unusable for anyone, which I think is entirely unfair to the owners, which happens to be Raj and Jaspal. So now here they are after they've bought it, we're dooming their property to be unusable in any retail context. So I think that's wholly unfair, in addition to using their gas station statistics as a judgment of their business character. So in summary, I was shocked. I'm still shocked that we're having this conversation, but I wholly support them and their family and their character. In addition, I think that the facts don't support the restriction of this liquor license based on what I've heard so far. So that's all I'd have to say.
Thank you, sir. Would you call your next witness, please?
Jaspal Gandhi.
Hello.
Hi, would you please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Could you state your name?
Jaspal Singh Gandhi.
Thank you.
Ms. Manchanda,
Hello.
Ms. Manchanda, do you have a question for this witness?
Which witness? Hello?
Or the witness that you have?
Jaspal Gandhi.
Jaspal Gandhi.
Yeah, I'm
he's,
here.
he's going to explain you the situation.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. I just want to explain the difference between these two cities. One is like high crime, drug infested area, and one is City of Angels, like City of Festus. No way they can be compared. Unfortunately, when we moved from Atlanta, we end up here in Ferguson. And at that time, situation was even worse. We used to call more and more time because the people used to sell drugs in the parking lot. What do we do? People will bring stolen merchandise and force us to buy. We strongly discourage them. They will end up selling in the parking lot. What do we do? If somebody's car got stolen from the pump, we have to call. But what happened? We instructed all employees, including myself, that as soon as you see a drug peddler, please call right away, call 911. And what happened in last 5 years, it's a lot better today than it was a few years ago. I really am thankful to the city of Ferguson Police and St. Louis County Police, where they helped us to handle this situation. But yes, calls were made. And just tell me, anybody can tell me what else could be done. And the gentleman who was witness, the last witness, he's talking about some other gas station or some other liquor store. We are Phillips 66. We are inspected every month by their inspectors. If they see trash in the parking lot, they will take their logo away. They will not leave us with the logo of Phillips 66. We are inspected for our uniforms, for how we deal with the customers. They come like anonymous and will buy things from you, buy gas, buy some merchandise, and they want to see whether how you welcome them, how you say thanks to them. If the store is in the right merchandise is the right position, they check everything. I was really shocked to hear from that gentleman who said the parking lot is trashy and all that. And it is a gas station for last 25 years. It's not just a liquor store or convenience store, as he said. So I want to clarify that. So these two cities are totally different. Please do not compare City of Festus with Chamber Green Valley Road or the 10620 New Halls Ferry Road. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do you have another witness, Mrs. Manchana?
Yes, Jasjeet Gandhi.
Would you please raise your hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And state your name for the record, please.
My name is Jasjeet Singh Gandhi.
Thank you.
So I am not very involved with the store at New Halls Ferry, but I have been managing the store on Chambers Road for the last 3 years. And I just kind of wanted to speak on some of my personal experiences there as to why the police have been called, if that's okay with everybody. In these last 3 years, I've witnessed more crime and drug-related activity than I have ever seen in my life. To give you a perspective, the store on Chambers Road, cashiers and merchandise are both behind a wall of bulletproof glass. My customer has to come into the store, tell me and point to the items we want, and then I go get it for them and ring it up. I came to find out that the store was transitioned before Ms. Raj even bought the store. And from what I found out from my customers, the reason this happened was because of a high volume of petty theft, as well as violent crimes occurring towards the employees. And despite having this glass, it hasn't deterred much of the violent activity. I have had employees assaulted. I have been assaulted myself. I've had gunshots fired on my lot, and I've also had cars stolen. All actions which resulted in needing the police and ambulance assistance. I would like to share two personal stories that have affected me during my time at this store. First one actually happened a couple of weeks ago. I was working the morning shift on February 7th, and a young lady came into the store wanting to buy tobacco products. I asked her for an ID so I could verify her age, which is something I do with all my customers. She went out to her car and she brought her purse in. I assumed she was going to show me the ID so that I could verify her age. And instead, she pulled a gun out of her purse and said that this was ID enough, and that if I didn't want her to fire bullets, I should sell her the tobacco. I retreated to the office and called the police, which in my mind was the only logical thing to do. The other situation I would like to bring up, it doesn't involve me at all, but it highlights a situation where the police had been dispatched to the store for the safety of the customer. This past summer, I had a female customer. She was a regular customer of mine walk in. She was crying and bleeding from the face. She visibly looked like she had been beaten, and she had no phone and asked if she could borrow the store phone. I later found out that she had used our store phone in order to call the police, as police had been dispatched and arrived minutes after I gave her the phone. I later came to find out from the police that she had been in an abusive relationship with her boyfriend, and he had just finished beating her. I would do this 100 out of 100 times, even if that means 100 calls to the police. There are numerous situations I could reference, and to the person that has never experienced it, they would find it hard to believe, my friends included. Nobody ever believes my work stories when I tell them, but those that have experienced and or witnessed some of the things I have witnessed know what I'm talking about. There are days where I've had to call the police 5 or 6 times to the store, and I've apologized to those officers. I'm sorry for having to call you so many times. And they've always reassured me that I'm doing the right thing. And so, to find out that they're being penalized for a number of phone calls, I was very shocked, because the officers of St. Louis County have reached out themselves and let us know that, if we feel like we're in danger, we should call them. That's all I have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Mrs. Manchanda, do you have any other witnesses to call?
Yeah, I have Mr. Hank, but he's saying the Zoom call is not letting him in. He's trying to connect and they're not letting him in. I had given his name to Carrie.
Everybody that is on the call is on the call. We have no one in the waiting room.
Okay. They think they're not letting him in. Okay. No more witnesses.
No more witnesses?
No.
Okay,
Can I say something? No?
go ahead.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening to all of us regarding the judgment against me for the from the employment office. I had no idea. I thank from Department of Labor. I thank City of Estes on Friday evening to let
Mayor,
me
if she's
know.
going to testify, she should be sworn.
Oh. No. Okay.
Yes, are you ready?
Yes.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. State your name for the record, please.
Rajpreet Manchanda.
Thank you.
Let me continue. I called the Labor Department this morning and I told them that this is what the City of Estes gave me. They said that payment was being made, but by mistake they were putting it in the wrong account. They have given a no tax due certificate, which I had emailed to Carrie. They said they already informed on January 29th to the court when they found out what the problem was. And there's no judgment against me, and I don't owe Department of Labor anything. Secondly, we are a hard-working people, moved to St. Louis to earn our daily bread. Yes, we have 2 locations. We knew nothing about St. Louis when we moved here. We lived in Georgia. I had a gas station in Palmetto. I can count on my fingers. I must have called the police maybe 10 or 12 times in 10 years. The police department was right across the street from me. And the Ferguson police tells us people will come there, just take merchandise and run. What do you do? I go to work 5 a.m. in the morning and work till 10 o'clock for people to come and steal from me, and I'm being penalized for not for calling the police. That is not fair to me. All my savings I have put in city of Festus to buy that property. We had gone to the department before to the city hall before buying this property. They told us what to measure and everything. We did that. I mean, I request you, if you are not convinced, at least give me a trial,
Conditional.
a conditional license, and let me prove myself to you all. And Ferguson and Chambers is different from city of Festus. That is why I'm planning to move there. That is why I bought the land there. That is why I want to do business over there. Because I'm in a high crime area. Rest is up to all of y'all. And I hope justice prevails and you support the truth and you support me. Thank you.
Larry, did you have any questions for Ms. Manchanda?
No, I just want to, I would probably, the judgment, Ms. Manchanda, the judgment was from 2018, but the judgment was satisfied. So when I don't think we're trying to suggest that you've got an outstanding judgment. The judgment was satisfied in 2018.
I did not even know.
That was on the part of Department of Labor.
That mistake was part of Department of Labor. That's what the gentleman told me today. They said they didn't know, they deposited money to the wrong account and then they transferred it. And I got no notice. I never went to court. I never signed any documents. You can check that. And I told Department of Labor that, and he had no answer. I would never have even known now if Friday evening the lawyer would not have sent me all these documents.
Okay, well, yeah.
I have good standing certificate for all my businesses and valid liquor license of all the businesses here.
I don't have any other questions, Mayor.
Is there any other witnesses you need to call?
No.
No.
Okay, at this time, City Council will deliberate. Are there any questions by councilman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Hey, Greg, is it
Johnson.
that the pattern, what we're doing down in Main Street, or what's currently there?
Well, as you know, there's a certain character to our historic Main Street. The location obviously has been a very low density use. Has been an insurance agency, and it's a t-shirt shop. It has basically 10 parking spots out front, and they're very close to the road. So the nature of the businesses that we have downtown, that we are promoting downtown, this would certainly be a departure from them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have, sir.
You're welcome. Is there any other questions from the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
is something that we could table for tonight and address later?
No, we cannot.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Excuse me,
Can I say something?
one of my witness just joined, Mr. Lon Simmons. He would like to say something.
All righty. We can do it, but it has to be quick.
Yes, Mr. Simmons, please go ahead and please make it quick for them.
Would you please state your name for the record and raise your right hand, please? Hello?
I think we lost him.
I think we lost him again.
I think he's muted.
Hmm.
No, we have video and audio, but
It's seeing the
Oh, yeah.
No,
No, he's gone again.
it's okay.
It's okay. We can proceed. I don't know. I lost him again.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
going to proceed. At this time, I need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to deny the appeal on the liquor license, please.
Motion's been made. I'll need a second. Motion's been made and seconded to deny the license. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer. Councilman Wilkie.
Yes,
Is that to deny or,
to accept.
okay. Councilman Weiner?
So what did Councilman Boyer say?
The motion is to deny, and that was made by Councilman Cook and seconded by Councilman Boyer.
Okay. And we have 2 yes votes right now.
To deny.
I said to accept.
Councilman Weiner said to accept.
Nay.
Wilkie.
Councilman-
Or Councilman, I'm sorry, Councilman Wilkie. Councilman Weiner,
I abstain.
abstain.
Councilman Dennis?
yes.
Councilman Benz?
No.
Councilman Tenen?
Let's say no. To deny.
Okay. So we have 1 abstention, 4 to deny, 2 to accept.
Larry, as a point of procedure, since this is a non-budgetary, do we need a quorum vote or a majority vote?
Majority vote.
Okay, so 4-2, and what abstention?
Yes, and I needed to call Councilman Cook because he's the one that made the motion, but I forgot.
I'm a yes for denial, please.
Okay,
So what's the final?
so we have 4 to deny, 2 to accept, 1 abstention.
The license would be denied, sir.
On a vote of 4-2, the license is denied. And I'd like to close this hearing. I need a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none,